this one, quite an interesting one. Always fascinated about sort of thought leaders on health and how to sort of extend lifespan. Barry has come across a person who has some interesting thoughts on this. So yeah, please let us know.
Definitely. So this is an idea I find fascinating, and it's not my idea at all. And so this is all attributed to a doctor by the name of Dr. Peter Attia. And Dr. Peter Attia is a doctor in the States, but is more well known for his longevity work. So he is fascinated with trying to extend human lifespan.
Yep.
And so he works across the board when it comes to exercise, diet, supplements, nootropics, all sorts of things to try and extend lifespan for the human being. And I was listening to an interview with him, and he was chatting about the fact that often when we are young people, we get away with a lot of stuff that we shouldn't be getting away with. We can eat terrible food, we can not exercise, we can not take care of ourselves, but because we're young and because our cells are still healthy and we still metabolize well, we can get away with bad habits that get worse and worse as we get older, right? Yeah. And so for him, he's a 60-year-old man thinking about his older age, and obviously his body is not like it used to be in his younger years. And he was trying to think about how do you incentivize the right behavior for someone in their 20s or 30s to get the right habits in place so that it's not as hard down the line to all of a sudden decide, okay, after eating cheeseburgers for 20 years, now I'm going to start eating healthy and try and get my body right? And so he was trying to think about how do you incentivize that? And the reason it's so difficult is because as a 30-year-old or a 20-year-old, you can't think about your future like that. You can't imagine being 80 years old and the bad health is caught up with you and the diseases and all that kind of stuff that come with. And so what he kind of put together was what he calls the Centenarian Olympics, which is a term that I love. And basically what he imagines is what do you want to be able to do when you're 100 years old? So what kinds of physical movements, what kinds of health things, how fit do you want to be, how mobile do you want to be at 100? And if you were to set yourself some tasks that you want to perform when you're 100, what would those look like? Yep. So examples would be, say you've got your grandchild running towards you at full tilt. You want to be strong and stable enough to be able to grab your grandchild and pick him up and kind of hug him, right? That's one example. Or if you want to carry your groceries up a few stairs to your house, you need to be able to pick up those groceries and walk those few steps into the house. Yep. So very, very functional tasks that a 100-year-old would want to do. And basically what he says is, cool, if that's the goal, that's the Centenarian Olympics, that's the kind of fitness you want to be in that age. Yep. What if you walk that back to 90 and to 80 and to 70 and to 60, knowing that your body's going to deteriorate throughout that life? And what kind of training, what kind of support structures should you be looking at when you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s? So for example, things like, he kind of splits into 4 different things. The first one is stability. So mobility of your joints, your flexibility, can you stretch, do your hips work the way they should, yada, 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 to make sure you have the right functionality of movement in your body. That's something young people don't even care about. Like I know for myself, I don't stretch, I don't work on mobility because it all works right now. But the habits of getting that ingrained into yourself because you're training for the Centenarian Olympics is important, right? So that's the first part. The second part is strength. And we know strength training is incredibly important. And when we're young, we often train because we want huge biceps and we want to be able to deadlift 1 million pounds and all that kind of thing. And that's all great. It's good to be strong, but it's being strong in the right ways, functional strength. It's not about the size of your biceps. It's about how strong your core is. Are you able to get up off the ground with ease? Are you able to lift? Are you able to pull things, etc.? And so thinking about it in that way and thinking about what do you need for your 100-year Centenarian Olympics, I think that's quite interesting. And the last 2 are cardiovascular, so anaerobic and aerobic training, right? So low intensity endurance training, so running, swimming, rowing, etc., and high intensity cardiovascular training, so sprints and hill sprints and those kinds of things. And so all it is it's a thought experiment to remind yourself to get the right habits going in your life so that when you get to those older age, you haven't thrown away the 30 years beforehand and you're trying to start from scratch when you're 70 or 80 years old. And I like the idea of the Centenarian Olympics. Like when I'm 100, I want to be a strong-ass granddad. I want to be picking up my grandkids. I want to be walking with friends. I want to be doing all that kind of thing. So I thought that would be interesting to bring up.
Interesting topic, and an interesting, basically an interesting way to make it real, and start getting us to think about these kind of things. I mean, that's the natural progression in life. We are all going to age. It's one of the certainties of life, and we're all going to get there. We're definitely living longer than previous generations, and so this is how I think we'll be able to make progress and actually visualize how what we want to be able to do when we get there, and ultimately set ourselves up for success. So thanks for bringing that one to our attention. Across the pond.